everybody to Let's Talk Antiques.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
Today, we're going to talk about flying saucers. But before we do that, I'd like to give a shout out to Harold and Ruby Shelton at Shelton's Antiques. Not only are they listeners, but they're one of our sponsors on the television side of it. Just to let you know, is everybody familiar with the Tennessee magazine that you get when you get your light bills?
Yes.
And they send you that magazine.
A lot of good stuff.
Well, they last year they started this burger contest and different contests, barbecue and all that. But Jiffy Burger won the best burger last year from this Tennessee magazine, the Middle Tennessee side of it. They got it broke down in 3 different, Middle and Eastern and Western. Well, guess what? They won it again this time.
Wow.
So 2 years in a row, they've won Best Burger in Middle Tennessee.
Well,
Now, everybody's familiar with Middle Tennessee, the producer here, and both producers, I'm sure. If you Google Middle Tennessee, you know how many counties that is. That's a pretty good size. But they won hands down Best Burger again.
Well, they have a
Wow.
good burger.
But how can you not win when you start out with a fresh meat every day? You pat the patties out yourself.
You serve real meat.
Yeah, it's not frozen stuff.
That's right.
That thaws out.
You slice the vine ripe tomatoes by hand.
Yeah. Well, and like Nancy says, they cook their every burger's cooked with love. They're cooking that burger like it's going to be the best burger, and it is. She cooks it to be the best burger every time she does it. Well, anyway, Ronnie, have you heard the latest about water on Mars?
I saw that story Monday morning. NASA was going to make an announcement at 11:30, but I had to work, so
Not frozen water.
no.
Some
Liquid.
of it hit me coming off of Mount Eagle Mountain this
Did
morning.
it? Okay.
And they were showing that it was running down a hill, and then there was salt deposits it was leaving.
Well, what about when I think of Mars? First thing I think about, Ray, you probably do this too, is the flying saucers and all that stuff. You know, the people from Mars. You know, that's taking over the Earth.
And people were speculating that NASA coincided that for the release of The Martian that they consulted on, which was a movie about a guy stranded on Mars. Did you hear about that? And makes me think, back in 1947, when Kenneth Anderson was the first pilot that spotted UFOs, and people were speculating, that they were from Mars, and
But also, is that Roswell thing?
about two or 3 weeks after that, the Roswell affair
crash.
came up, and
And they actually are supposedly have a real alien in storage somewhere. And
yeah, supposedly.
Yeah.
Y'all see the alien autopsy?
I didn't. Did you see it, Ray?
Supposedly.
No, I think one of them's in the White House, though.
Yeah, me too. But and that fueled a lot of.
Well, if you
space
think
toys
about
in
it,
the
the one of the movies was about the White House. You know, where they attacked the White House and attacked New York, and
Oh yeah, and
So-
the Independence Day. Where
Yeah.
they blew up the world.
yeah. So what are you?
Well, in the 50s and 60s, they started making a lot of space toys. From all these rumors of the Martians, it was a real hot topic back then.
Yeah.
Not just toys, and they made movies
Oh,
and.
movies and everything else.
I mean, a lot of stuff has evolved from just that one thing. Space is a big deal to everybody. Trains is a big deal, but space is absolutely a big deal.
Well, your biggest budget movies now are space movies.
Yeah.
Back then, there were a lot of space movies. War of the Worlds, The Day the Earth Stood Still, Forbidden Planet with Robbie the Robot.
Yeah.
And
Well, not only big budget movies, but also you had the B-type movies besides the big budget ones, and the TV shows like Lost in Space.
Lost in Space, yeah. And Japan started Japan put out lots of those 10 lithograph space
Yeah,
toys.
after the war, they're manufacturing ability was almost destroyed. Well, it was pretty well, it and Germany both. And so as they came back, these family-owned places, like you're talking about, Ronnie, little small companies, instead of, when we think of a small company, we think like the industrial park with somebody having 25 employees or 10 or 15. But actually in Japan, they'd make this stuff at their homes, little cottage-type industries.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, that built those type. And believe it or not, I hope I'm not getting ahead of what you want to talk about, but believe it or not, some of those toys you could actually, and I've got some that you can, if you look on the inside of them, they're not painted. They might be a Coke can. They might be, like when the industry over here was making, say, like lids for Coca-Cola. They don't just stamp out one lid. What they did, they stamp out a big sheet, 4x8 or 4, whatever it may be, and then that machine cuts those lids out. Well, if that piece of metal that they got all these lids printed on a 4x8 sheet is bad, say the paint didn't work out right, well, that's scrap to them. Well, guess who back then was buying all that was the Japanese.
Back then, we would sit on that scrap.
And they took that scrap and they would they wouldn't bother to take off the Coca-Cola lids that was on the other side, or whatever it may be. It could be any form of advertisement. But one of the biggest deals you could do is take some of that stuff apart and see that.
They were really ingenuity people back then.
Well, you have to.
They had to be, I guess.
Well, you have to use what you got,
Yes.
And they probably bought this scrap for a little. Well, they had to buy it for little or nothing to be able to build a toy.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about, battery operated or a wind-up toy, package it and ship it back and still sell it in the dime stores.
Right.
This stuff was like this stuff here. It was in dime stores.
Yeah. And a lot of labor went into that too.
Well, and what's labor worth? After the war.
Right. Very little.
Yeah. So, I guess what I've sat here and told you about is that a lot of these little cottage-type industries made a lot of these toys, but those same cottage-type industries grew into be big companies.
And now,
And some of those companies that made those toys now are big companies.
and those toys are worth a lot of money now.
Yeah.
If you can find them.
And I'm sure these companies, the larger companies, had the small cottage-type industry to make a lot of this stuff. Families. That was a way to feed the family. Mm-hmm. What is one of the sayings this guy's talking about? He sold a country music song. Said, "Yeah, they put a little milk in the Howard home."
Right. Mm-hmm.
And
Same
same thing.
Same thing. But like I was looking at some of those toys last night, like the Nomura, which was an old Japanese company, and I'd say they did like you talked about. They probably built these things out of scrap, and just a Robbie the Robot Space Patrol car that they put out in '57, and it's.
And if people's not familiar with Robbie the Robot, he was in
Forbidden Planet, and
Yeah.
he was in an episode of Lost in Space.
Oh, he's been in a lot of different. Matter of fact, I think I seen him. I know I did. I seen him the other day in a modern movie. So he's in movies all the time.
And still,
Commercials.
but that Space Patrol car, which is like a little sled that you would have seen in the Lost in Space movies, and he just rides it. Christie sold for $7,779.
Yeah, you're talking about something, Ronnie, that's probably not over 10 inches long.
Yeah, just a small.
4x10 or something like
toy.
that, 5x10.
A friction
maybe.
toy
Yeah.
that they would
Was it
back
friction or
up.
battery operated?
I believe that one was a friction toy. Some of them were battery operated. But I believe that particular one was a friction toy. And we've got some pulled up over there, I believe.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we get back, we're going to pull them up and talk about some of this one site. This guy's got thousands of these, right?
He's got thousands of these 10 lithograph space toys and robots.
Which is Space Toys.
And we can talk about the movies that go along with them.
Okay.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
Shelton Lane Antiques in Manchester has over 5,000 square feet of antiques for treasure hunters to explore. They sell vintage clocks, gas pumps, signs, furniture, and glassware. They have over 3,000 vinyl records and a fully stocked 1950s-style general store. Owners Harold and Ruby Shelton have been collecting unique items for years, and you can start or complete your own collection today at Shelton Lane Antiques. Open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 100 Shelton Lane, just off 16th Model Road in Manchester, Tennessee. Come look around and plan to stay a while at Shelton Lane Antiques, where we sell antiques, but the history is free.
All right, we're back. You ready to start again, Ray?
All right, let's roll.
All right.
We're ready.
Okay. Now, when we left, we're at a site right now that we're going to look up some of these robots and some of these flying saucers. But something that I guess the audience needs to know: the Robbie, the robot that was in Forbidden Planet, the guy that made him also made the Lost in Space robot. And if you'll look at Robbie, like his washing machine type body,
His torso section.
yeah, is kind of like the Lost in Space section.
And he was also a Japanese guy, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He made a lot of different things, but he's really famous for those two robots. Now, you know, if you had to do a survey, I don't know which one would be the most famous, the Lost in Space or Robbie. But
would
a
like
lot
to
of people
see that.
call Lost in Space Robbie the robot, which he's not. He's B9.
And there's a whole big club dedicated to building those.
Good
big
gosh,
long
yes.
robots.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
And
that,
you're a member of that club, aren't you?
yeah, I still am. Since that 1947 Roswell deal, or is that when it was in 47?
It was in 47. Huh?
Yeah. Since that, the space stuff has really took off. You know,
And
I mean,
it's
it's,
still going strong.
oh yeah, and it always will be.
And as a matter of fact, Walt Disney's opening up an addition to their theme park called Star Wars Land,
I'll be dog. Well, and new Star Wars movies is coming out.
coming out, and the toys are already out.
Yeah, that's
They came out
a
this
little
month.
different than the very first movie. The first movie come out didn't even have a toy.
No,
But the good thing about that, the collectors, is they had the early bird set, and if you own one of those, you got 6,000 or 7,000 or more.
yeah, they sold you a board with some pegs to set the figures on, and you would get one figure every 2 or 3 months. and
As they made them.
As they made them, yeah. And those are the ones that have the double telescoping lightsabers. The saber actually comes out twice. They're very rare because the tips would always get broke off
Yeah,
on them,
especially if the kids played with them.
especially if the kids played with them.
All right, Keith. You're on that site, right?
While we were gone, Keith looked up this Robbie Space Patrol, and he's got some interesting information about it.
Yes, you can go to VintageSpaceToys.com. You can see all these toys here, or eBay. Vintage Space Toys has a lot of the articles about the toys. Robbie Space Patrol. It says the original Robbie Space Patrol was issued by the Japanese toy company in 1957. Long subject of collector's desire. MGM, part of MGM Studios. It was released in 1956. The movie Forbidden Planet.
Yeah, and
Instant action Robbies in the 1950s. The legend is the condition of the Robbie Space Patrol It was made in Japan out of tin plate. Toy was in excellent condition when it came over here. Battery compartment.
So he is a battery operated.
Yes.
I thought he was. You know, in the movie Forbidden Planet, he actually does the robots in a unit driving around, you know, to pick up the
That's kind of like what the
astronauts.
Space Patrol
And that's how the
did for
Space
us.
Patrol come about.
And they had several versions of them. Maybe they had a green version.
I wonder which one's the rarest, did it say?
Now that I see.
I didn't find which one would have been the rarest.
All right, Keith. You want to go to another? There's plenty of flying saucers, plenty of robots. All this started, though, from the 1947s.
Speaking of, you know, Forbidden, even the movie posters are bringing good money
Oh, yeah.
for those. Did we have a movie poster on eBay for that one?
It
Forbidden
looks
Planet?
like eBay right here. New one. There's reproduction.
Yeah, but not the real thing.
Not that I'm seeing.
Are you at the highest price, Keith?
Let me check. There's a couple. Sold. Highest price looks like it sold for. Ooh. 5,600.
I saw in an article here that,
Wow.
you know, of course it was written by H.G. Wells, and the one sheet, the poster for the movie, the adaptation could sell between $6,500 and $10,000, depending on
Is that the War of the
condition.
World one?
That's the War of the Worlds.
Yeah.
That's War of the
Remember that.
Worlds.
What's the next highest price poster there? Of course, we need to get back to some of those toys, too, but
2,700.
What is it?
That. It's the same. It's a rare style half sheet.
yeah, okay.
So the full sheet is 5,600. The half sheet is 2,700.
Yeah.
I hardly ever see the half sheets.
Yeah.
You have half sheet posters?
No, most of mine are full sheets.
That's what I was thinking.
Then it drops down to the 2 and 3.
I do have Elvis Presley. You know, they made those sheets in 1, 2, and 3 sheets. Now the Elvis Presley poster I got, Girls, 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 it's a 2 sheet. Which means it takes 2 of the posters to make a full. Takes 2 of them to actually make a full poster. And they actually, Ronnie, had 3 sheet though.
They did.
That's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. The
I seen one time. This collector had a Dick Tracy 3 sheet, and we're talking probably 7 foot tall or more.
From the original Dick Tracy?
Yes, and it was a 3-sheeter.
I'll be dang.
Is there another one you specifically I should look up or just
Well, just pick one. Pick one of the.
random? Okay.
The
Well,
toys.
pick maybe a flying. Do you see any flying saucers there on this site?
Satellite fleet. TPS satellite fleet.
Okay, yeah.
Looks like the use made in the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
Rare space toys, not often seen with the original box. This guy has it with the box, and looks like there's 5 of them in there.
So one of them's larger and they're
Little
smaller.
tiny- yes.
And they're just little flying saucers.
The big one, and then the 3 little ones behind it.
Yes.
2 variations of the toy, one without an antenna, one with an antenna. These never had the antenna.
The ones with the antennas, it would probably be hard to come by with the original. 'Cause it was still with the antennas, because kids would have broke the antenna.
Oh yeah. Anything sticking out, a kid's gonna break. Just like you said on that lightsaber.
They ended up making them without the antennas to reduce the cost.
Oh, okay.
Made out of tin, mothership, and 3 flying saucers.
Did it have a value to it?
No, these don't.
Okay.
We get that off eBay, and the boxes themselves brought big money.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's all about the box.
Yes.
Any toy, where it be a cap gun set, a flying saucer, or any. If you got the box, a toy truck. If you got the box, you got something. Sometimes the box will bring more than the toy.
Oh yeah.
I have
Toys would be
seen that.
common. The boxes would either get thrown away, they'd get broke.
You got one, Keith? You want to pull up there?
Got a rocket gumball machine from
Okay.
Italy.
Oh yeah, the gumball.
Yeah, that's.
Old. Yeah.
What's it say about it?
It's 60 years old. 62 centimeters high. It's a metal one, blue and gold. Japan, not from Japan like most of the other rockets are, but these were made in Italy. The plastic ones came from Japan, and the metal ones came from Italy. Originally made in the mid to late 50s. Not sure the manufacturer no longer produced anymore. Extremely rare.
That would
Never
be
see
very
these
rare.
anymore.
So how tall is,
62 centimeters?
yeah, how tall is that? I'm still on inches.
That
Yeah.
medium,
24
but
inches.
Most-
24
most
2
inches.
feet tall.
All right.
So,
Pretty good size, yeah.
Yeah.
pretty good size. About like our little R2D2s. They were a 2-foot robot.
Pick another one there, Keith.
Move it down
How
the
much time we
page.
got before we?
Got about 2 or 3 more minutes in
Yeah,
this break.
go through a few more.
Just trying to find something extra unique.
Okay.
An Atom Jet. Atom Jet 1. Badini. Atom Jet 1. It's like a little kid in a race car.
Oh yeah.
An Atom Boy car. Motorcycle with Atom Boy. Fire truck. They had a whole set of different ones. Japanese.
It's all space
made.
stuff though. It's supposed to be.
Yes.
And they had the Astro Boys back then too.
Yeah.
These were a little bit newer in the 60s.
Well, that's
That's still pretty old.
yeah.
True.
That's still 55 years old or 50 or like my Chevelle is 66. It's turned 50.
Friction powered. These are still extremely rare. You don't really see the Atom Boys anymore. It's all Japanese made. Seems like everything here.
Most of them were.
Well, that's what started the Japanese economy back, building this small stuff.
And the Japanese are big on building real robots nowadays.
Oh yeah.
They're leading the world in.
A Mark's Moon Creature
Oh, that's Mark's Toy Company.
with the box.
I had that. I used to have that one.
Comes from outer space. Made in Japan, mid 60s. He could roll his eyes, open and close his mouth. This toy is brand new. It's never been played, still in the box. Grow up. Usually, the same thing here. It's saying usually you're missing the box.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
with the box, it's
Common
a lot
thing.
more valuable. And this one sold, but doesn't give a price.
Yeah.
One more and then break. Space Dog, remote control,
There's one I hadn't heard of.
battery
Yeah, you
powered.
have. You've seen it.
Space Dog?
Look at it. You've seen it before.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know what it was called.
Space
I have
Dogs, 1950s, again made in Japan. Had an antenna, rolled its eyes, moved its mouth side by side. Lumbering motion. It's blue with a spring tail, lighted atomic. Battery box, mint condition. So some of these are still.
That's unusual to find good battery boxes.
Well, the reason, a
'Cause-
lot of those people left the batteries in there, and that acid from that battery, as the batteries got bad, it just corroded them. It destroyed them.
What's better?
I noticed the newer toys, it's got plastic inside, so if the batteries
You
do,
just wipe them out and
yeah,
clean them up.
yeah. Well, it's all about dollars back then.
And now
You ready to go to a break?
Yes, time for break. We'll be right back on Let's Talk Antiques.
Shelton Lane Antiques in Manchester has over 5,000 square feet of antiques for treasure hunters to explore. They sell vintage clocks, gas pumps, signs, furniture, and glassware. They have over 3,000 vinyl records and a fully stocked 1950s-style general store. Owners Harold and Ruby Shelton have been collecting unique items for years, and you can start or complete your own collection today at Shelton Lane Antiques. Open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 100 Shelton Lane, just off 16th Model Road in Manchester, Tennessee. Come look around and plan to stay a while at Shelton Lane Antiques, where we sell antiques, but the history is free.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947. The Army Air Forces has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army. Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio, for further inspection. Late this afternoon, a bulletin from New Mexico suggested that the widely publicized mystery of the flying saucers may soon be solved. Army Air Force officers reported that one of the strange discs had been found and inspected sometime last week. Our correspondents in Los Angeles and Chicago have been in contact with Army officials endeavoring to obtain all possible late information. Joe Wilson reports to us now from Chicago. The Army may be getting to the bottom of all this talk about the so-called flying saucer. As a matter of fact, the 509th Atomic Bomb Group headquarters at Roswell, New Mexico, reports that it has received one of the discs which landed on a ranch outside Roswell. The disc landed at a ranch at Corona, New Mexico, and the rancher turned it over to the Air Force. Rancher W.W. Brizzell was the man who discovered the saucer. Colonel William Blanchard of the Roswell Air Base refuses to give details of what the flying disc looks like. In Fort Worth, Texas, where the object was first sent, Brigadier General Roger Ramey says that it is being shipped by air to the AAF Research Center at Wright Field, Ohio. A few moments ago, I talked to officials at Wright Field, and they declared that they expect the so-called flying saucer to be delivered there, but that it hasn't arrived as yet. In the meantime, General Ramey describes the object as being of flimsy construction, almost like a box kite. He says that it was so battered that he was unable to determine whether it had a disc form, and he does not indicate its size. Ramey says that so far as can be determined, no one saw the object in the air, and he describes it as being made of some sort of tinfoil. Other Army officials say that further information indicates that the object had a diameter of about 20 to 25 feet, and that nothing in the apparent construction indicated any capacity for speed, and that there was no evidence of a power plant. The disc also appeared too flimsy to carry a man. Now, back to Taylor Grant in New York. There was important activity within the UN Security Council today.
All right, we're back.
There's a little clip from the Roswell ABC reporting, July 8th, 1947. We've been talking about Roswell, so that's kind of how it happened way back when.
We got another good clip we're going to do on our next break. But what about those movie posters? Did you come up with those sold movie posters?
Yes. Hang on, actually.
How much
I
is
got
that
out of
little
it to
rocket
get to
while
this
you're
one.
still on it there? I noticed you got that rocket right there that's pulled up.
Yeah.
How much that bring?
Let's see.
It looked like $1,500 or something.
Yes, $14.50.
Yeah.
Vintage metal moon rocket toy.
Yeah. Good gosh.
And you know, and the Roswell incident,
Go ahead, Keith. Pull that up while we're talking.
It really inspired a lot of people in a lot of movies, especially in the early 50s. I don't know if you remember The Thing from Another World.
Yeah.
It was a Howard Hawks movie.
Yeah.
And actually, Matt Dillon was the Thing in that movie.
Well, that's when he was first getting into movies.
You remember him from Gunsmoke? He was
Yeah.
Marshall Dillon.
Yeah.
I thought that was
He
interesting.
was a World War II veteran, too.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. What year, did it say what year that was?
James Arnaz.
Yeah. What year was that, Ronnie? Do you remember?
1951.
Okay, well, 55 is when Gunsmoke come out. It run from 55 to 75.
So that would have been part of his earlier.
Yeah, I'm sure he did a lot of things like that on his early movies.
And The one sheet movie posters from that film now are bringing $900 to $1,200. Lobby cards are bringing $200-300.
Well, and here's the thing about lobby cars a lot of people don't know. It takes 8 lobby cars to make a full sheet. You know, you got to have 8 of them to do a full show. Like when you'd go to the theaters, you would see all these lobby cars and you didn't realize, most people didn't realize it, but it took 8 and the big poster. They would send you the big poster plus 8 lobby cars, kind of give you 8 different scenes of the movie.
I didn't know
That was coming attractions, you know.
Yeah.
the lobby cards
Yes,
were.
they were
becoming
always,
attractions.
yeah, there was always 8 to a,
I didn't know that.
well, and if you think about it, it's kind of like now, you see these trailers.
Right.
Well, that was the trailer, and the trailer we're talking about is clips from the movie that's coming out. Well, their trailers was these lobby cars that had these different scenes showing this stuff. All right, Keith, are we in the movie poster business yet?
1 second.
All right.
Headphones broke.
All right. Are you repaired?
Okay, we're good now.
All right.
Okay, movie posters.
Yeah.
Let me go to highest first. Got the 5600, the one sheeter. Got the 2700.
That's all the. That's
Forbidden Planet.
Forbidden Planet. Okay.
We got. Oh, y'all mentioned World of Worlds.
Yeah.
Let's see.
War of the Worlds.
Got
In Technicolor.
just
Remember
100. Oh, that's the
Technicolor?
movies. They remade, did movies of
Yeah.
it. $100.
Yeah, but that's not the real
No.
poster. What is that very top one up there, Keith?
1500 for a 1953 Belgian movie.
Is it a space movie?
I guess.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm not sure. It's in the Belgian language.
Oh, okay. Well, so what is Belgium language, Keith? Do you know what they call that?
That's the producer's question.
What do they call it, producer?
Belgies.
Belgies, okay.
There you go.
We'll go with that.
Space movie posters. You got the Space Odyssey movies.
Oh, yeah? How much is that one?
$1,000.
Space Odyssey was a really good movie. I like that.
Stanley Kubrick.
Yeah.
That movie was really ahead of its time.
Is that the one where the robot, am I thinking
That was
of?
Hal.
Yeah, Hal. Uh-huh.
Yes.
Hal, he was 2000? That was his model?
The computer that went psychotic and
Yeah.
tried to kill everybody.
But he was Hal 2000?
I believe it was.
Right. What else you got there, Keith? What other posters?
Got a German version of Space Odyssey for $200.
Yeah.
Rare Fire Maidens of Outer Space, a 1956 movie, $172.
Yeah.
The Queen of Outer Space for $226.
Yeah. These are all B movies, probably.
Yeah.
But you know what? A lot of those B movies they're cult classics.
They expected Star Wars to be a B movie
Yeah.
when it first came out.
Yeah.
Frankenstein meets the Space Monster.
Oh, yeah?
That was only $81.
That's some of Fred Sanford's favorite movies.
Yeah.
Space Jam. That wasn't really. That was more my time. Michael Jordan, Bugs Bunny.
Yeah. How much was it?
$130.
Yeah.
Wooden frame. Not really a lot of the older ones. It looks like.
Do Star Wars movie posters to see what comes up. I'll
That'll-
guarantee you that's going to be some high dollar ones.
Well, now Close Encounters of the Third Kind, they'll bring $150 to $300.
So have you got a list of posters there too?
I have a few here.
Oh, okay.
$4,000 for Star Wars posters.
Which one is it?
1977 original movie poster.
Okay.
Anything Star Wars is going to.
Signed autographed poster was $5,000.
Well, is it the same 77 poster?
Different picture. Looks like it's a. Let's see. Can't tell. Has everybody in it? Harrison Ford, George Lucas,
Yeah.
Anthony Daniels, 8 signatures.
Huh.
I can't tell what year.
Well, it has to be an early poster.
Yes. George Lucas, Harrison Ford movie poster signed, $2,500.
Which one is it? Does it say? It's Star Wars.
Yes, it's a
Probably returned.
22 inches tall, Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. Is that the second movie, Ronnie? Mm-hmm. Empire Strikes Back.
I won't
Well,
say
if
that.
you keep them in original order, it
Yeah.
is. Yes.
Yeah.
Harrison Ford is on all these. He
Yeah,
was
of
the
course.
big deal.
Well,
1500, 2000.
I've got him. I've got
1500.
his signature, but I don't have him on Star Wars. I got him on Indiana Jones.
There's 2,000 movie posters here for Star Wars alone.
Good gosh.
Yeah.
And we've talked about the highest ones. Are you still in? Can you scroll down till you get to? Are they once you get past less than 100, they're not worth looking at. So are there still?
I'm on this. I just went through the whole page, and we're still at $500. So
What is the last one on that page there?
$495?
Yeah, what is
one
it?
sheeter for a 1977 Star Wars.
Okay, must not be in that good a shape then.
No, it's kind of wrinkled.
Well, those things come folded anyway.
Yeah. They had
They had to
creases
fold
in 'em.
them to be able to put them in there with the
And
movie.
Sometimes, they would just spin them and put them in tubes, but that was unusual.
Yeah,
A lot
most of them are folded.
A lot of them you would get big ones in magazines. The big fold out. You remember those? Mm-hmm. They would come in the magazines like the.
Well, the ones you're talking about, like mostly the rolled up ones in the tubes. That's more of these rentals. Remember the movie rentals when they first come out? A lot of those were rolled up in tubes.
I didn't know that.
The ones that you took home and watched.
Yeah.
I guess originally what they come out with.
The collectors.
Well, I mean, it wasn't DVD. It was
The
what?
tape.
VHS.
Yeah.
back then.
When you go to Blockbuster, go to the VHS store. You'd have the rolled up ones.
And
Yeah, okay.
Those are nearly a thing of the past now, with streaming.
Now, what about while he's looking there? What was that one movie you want him to look up and see if they got any posters? Not War of the Worlds and.
We were talking about Close Encounters of the Third Kind.
Yeah. See what you can find there while you talk. You said you got a few more posters that you in your story. Do you have some, Ronnie, there with the prices?
I have a few. I have the Earth versus the Flying Saucers. One sheet in fine condition might sell for $12,000 to $20,000. A lobby card set, which would be all of them
8.
like you were speaking about, would be in the $2,500 range. And that movie came out in '57. No, another one came out in '57, Invasion of the Saucer Men. It was originally intended to be a comedy.
I'll tell you what, let's do, Ronnie. Let's stop right there and take a break.
Okay.
And we'll get back, and we got another little short video and scene that we're going to do
Oh, yeah, we got
on
a
the
little treat
radio.
for 'em when they
Yeah,
come back.
We would like to thank Dr. David Florence for supporting Let's Talk Antiques. See Dr. Florence at 804 Kalon Street in Manchester for all of your medical needs. Call 728-5522 for your appointment today. Most insurances accepted.
Shelton Lane Antiques in Manchester has over 5,000 square feet of antiques for treasure hunters to explore. They sell vintage clocks, gas pumps, signs, furniture, and glassware. They have over 3,000 vinyl records and a fully stocked 1950s-style general store. Owners Harold and Ruby Shelton have been collecting unique items for years, and you can start or complete your own collection today at Shelton Lane Antiques. Open Wednesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. at 100 Shelton Lane, just off 16th Model Road in Manchester, Tennessee. Come look around and plan to stay a while at Shelton Lane Antiques, where we sell antiques, but the history is free.
The Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester has been voted as having the best hamburgers in Manchester. Hometown atmosphere, historical memorabilia, and of course those great burgers, salads, chicken, and so much more. It's the Jiffy Burger on the Hillsborough Boulevard in Manchester. Call in orders at 728-4452. You can also order at the convenient outdoor curb service. Hamburgers are made the old-fashioned way at the Jiffy Burger, Manchester's finest hamburgers. Open 7:30 until 9, Monday through Saturday.
Moments, we will take you to the Princeton Observatory at Princeton, New Jersey. We return you until then to the music of Ramon Raquello and his orchestra. We are ready now to take you to the Princeton Observatory at Princeton, where Carl Phillips, our commentator, will interview Professor Richard Pearson, famous astronomer. We take you now to Princeton, New Jersey.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Carl Phillips speaking to you from the observatory at Princeton. I'm standing in a large semicircular room, pitch black except for an oblong split in the ceiling. Through this opening, I can see a sprinkling of stars that cast a kind of frosty glow over the intricate mechanism of the huge telescope. The ticking sound you hear is the vibration of the clockwork. Professor Pearson stands directly above me on a small platform, peering through the giant lens. I'll ask you to be patient, ladies and gentlemen, during any delay that may arise during our interview. Besides the ceaseless watch of the heavens, Professor Pearson may be interrupted by telephone or other communications. During this period, he is in constant touch with the astronomical centers of the world. Professor, may I begin our questions?
At any time, Mr. Phillips.
Professor, would you please tell our radio audience exactly what you see as you observe the planet Mars through your telescope?
Nothing unusual at the moment, Mr. Phillips. A red disk swimming in a blue sea. Transverse stripes across the disk. Quite distinct now because Mars happens to be at the point nearest the Earth, in opposition, as we call it.
In your opinion, what do these transverse stripes signify, Professor Pearson?
Not canals, I can assure you, Mr. Phillips. Although that's the popular conjecture of those who imagine Mars to be inhabited. From a scientific viewpoint, the stripes are merely the result of atmospheric conditions peculiar to the planet.
Then you're quite convinced, as a scientist, that living intelligence as we know it does not exist on Mars?
I should say the chances against it are 1,000 to 1.
And yet, how do you account for these gas eruptions occurring on the surface of the planet at regular intervals?
Phillips, I cannot account for it.
By the way, Professor, for the benefit of our listeners, how far is Mars from the Earth?
Approximately 40 million miles.
Well, that seems a safe enough distance. Just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. Someone has just handed Professor Pearson a message. While he reads it, let me remind you that we are speaking to you from the observatory in Princeton, New Jersey, where we are interviewing the world-famous astronomer, Professor Pearson. One moment, please. Professor Pearson has passed me a message which he has just received. Professor, may I read the message to the listening audience?
Certainly, Mr. Phillips.
Ladies and gentlemen, I shall read you a wire addressed to Professor Pearson from Dr. Gray of the Natural History Museum, New York. Quote, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Seismograph registered shock of almost earthquake intensity occurring within a radius of 20 miles of Princeton. Please investigate. Signed, Lloyd Gray, Chief of Astronomical Division. Unquote. Professor Pearson, could this occurrence possibly have something to do with the disturbances observed on the planet Mars?
Hardly, Mr. Phillips. This is probably a meteorite of unusual size, and its arrival at this particular time is merely a coincidence. However, we shall conduct a search as soon as daylight permits.
Thank you, Professor. Ladies and gentlemen, for the past 10 minutes, we've been speaking to you from the observatory at Princeton, bringing you a special interview with Professor Pearson, noted astronomer. This is Carl Phillips speaking. We are returning you now to our New York studio.
All right, we're back.
Of course, everybody knows we don't have Martians landing right now in Manchester. But before we
They could be in Winchester.
Washington, D.C.
Almost 80 years ago.
Yeah.
80 years ago.
I mean, it was real enough. You said that you played that show just a few weeks ago or so, and
Yes.
somebody actually called in?
Yeah. I played that. There's actually, this one's from 1938. There's a remade one from the 60s from a station in Buffalo, New York. We played a piece of it, and a lady called in and said, "What's going on?" But even like that 100 years ago, radio was just getting popular. People believed what you heard. 1968, people still believed it. When they did the modernized adaptation of it, they were playing music. They'd break in with reports, play some more music. It was the normal DJ that night, so nobody thought to think it was different. The Canadian police put military on the bridge going from U.S. to Canada, thinking that the aliens were coming to attack Canada.
Yeah, with Mars in the news right now, people
thinking it too now.
Yeah.
Mars is a big deal right now.
It is.
I'm going to go with it that there ain't no Martians, so, they're gonna have to prove it to me. I'm kind of doubtful on that kind of
I
stuff.
think if they find anything, it would be more microbial and
Yeah.
nothing else.
There was another poster there that you was gonna talk about, right?
Yeah, we were talking about the Earth versus the flying saucers. Now we were talking, yes, before we left,
Mm-hmm.
we were talking about Invasion of the Saucer Men, and we did find a price for that one, and there was an excellent one-sheet one offered on Amazon for $11,000, but it didn't say whether or not it sold. It said it was offered for
Well,
$11,000.
I'd say that they're probably gonna be real rare anyway, don't you?
Exactly. Yeah, I would say for sure they're going to be real rare. It's got two pictures of they call them the greens, the Martians. You know, they have the grays and the greens with the big heads and the big eyes, and he's holding a regular Earth female in his arms.
Yeah.
And that's about what that poster looks like.
You know, if they can hear us right now, just to let them know, over here at WMSR, we have a lot of land, and if they want to land one of their flying saucers out here by the radio tower, I believe Rob and them would be okay with it.
I don't think they would mind it.
No, I don't
Not
think.
at all.
What do you think?
And now,
I think we even got a beacon light on the tower there so that they'll make sure they won't hit the tower.
And now the radio signals, they just keep traveling on out into space,
Yeah.
don't they? They don't stop.
They can call in, order a breakfast if they want one.
Yeah.
So if they're listening, they'll know we're talking about them.
Today is I guess we've been on a fact-finding mission about the price of toys and movie posters and whether or not there is really Martians. Like I said, I can't go with it. Even the 47 deal, I still don't believe it. I'd have to actually witness it. But didn't you say there was a little clip on something about an autopsy or something?
Yeah, the alien autopsy.
Yeah.
I think they showed it on TV a few years back. And there was a lot of controversy about it at that time over the internet and, the pros and the cons and whether or not it's true and whether or not it was just for publicity, and who knows.
Yeah. Well,
That's something we'll probably never know in our lifetime.
The government actually does, I'm sure, have secrets that they can't tell the whole general public. But you would think, though, by now, like the farmer saying, that he's seen it, you'd think by now that with it being 2015 that they would have probably figured all that out, whether or not it's real. But
Well, right now we have five probes around Mars, and the Europeans have one, so we have two on the ground, and then we have four in the air. So you think we'd know something?
yeah. Well, all I do know for a fact, and I can quote this, that from 1947, from that sighting or whatever you want to call that, investigation, it sure has made a booming business out of space.
And space-related movies.
You got it. Let's get out of here. You want to?
I'm ready.
They speak Dutch in Belgium.
Oh, they speak Dutch in Belgium. Okay, there we go.